Hello, 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 people. This is Ash with another episode of E-Wasted here. And we are traveling further down the I series 8th gen rabbit hole. Last episode we did the i3-8100, and this one we're doing a system with the i5-8500. So, if you remember, which you probably don't, I barely do anyways, the the last little, I think it was like a Dell 3060, I believe, that it came with the i5 8500 in it. And I thought that that was kind of overpowered for such a little system. I mean, you could do it if you're just going for CPU power, but if you want to do something for gaming, that system was pretty limited because it had like the single slot small for compact graphics card, and you just couldn't really do much in there. So that brings us to this system we got going on here, which is let me see, it's an HP M01-F0134, and eBay didn't have any exact matches for it. Like, didn't really pop anything, but that's the one I got here. We got this sucker right here. It says, let me see, go all the way to the bottom here, and yeah, it's where it says the M01 F0134. Yes, that is the little HP, and this thing actually came with an 8th gen i7 in it, and I thought that, like, well, that once again it seems a little bit too much power for what you can do, because you also have the limiting factors within here of just the power supply, where it's like around 250 watts, but it has no 6-pin power connector, so you can't put much of a graphics card in. So what could we get to put in here? Well, we got this here, which is an RTX 3050 6 GB variant. So yeah, we'll walk through this build here. Maybe we'll switch over to the cameraman so we can see all the important stuff I'm doing inside this little HP case here. It looks like I'm swapping out the CPU there or something now, or maybe I guess it was just putting it in, redoing the thermal paste. Yeah, something like that. Look at me go there. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about this. So on this HP little micro tower, as it is, I went up, I think it was like a half hour, 40-minute drive, because it was a pretty killer deal for. It was advertised even different. It was advertised as like having an 11th gen i5, which I thought, okay, that's a pretty good deal. I could go get that. It's worth the drive. But it turned out to be an 8th gen i7. It had like a full terabyte, like 2.5 SATA drive in it too, and it was all for like $35. So I was like, okay, that's a pretty sweet deal. Either way, it was worth it. So I took the i7 out, and we'll see that in the following video, concluding our journey down the 8th gen i5 rabbit hole. But this one got the i5 from the previous video, got pulled from that system. We stuck the i3 in, and it has the RTX 3050 here, 6 GB, which I also scored locally. I think it like $85, which was pretty good. And there you go for like go over to what we see them for the buy it now eBay lowest price. It's like around $140. So pretty decent discount. But then again, I got lured into the local sale risk. You don't really have a whole lot of recourse. eBay, you get something off here, you got 30 days to send it back and say, hey, this doesn't work. You do that locally, you're like, oh, I met someone in a parking lot at a CVS and I can't do shit about it. So there that is anyways. But yeah, here's like, if I were to go out and buy an i5-8500, it would cost a little over $30, which I didn't have to do, which is good. But how does an i5-8500 rank on the pass marks? Our benchmark of choice, not because it's the best benchmark for CPUs or graphics cards, just because, as far as I've seen, it's like one of the only benchmarks out there that has like all the hardware benchmark in one easy to go system, and I'm all about that. Just running one benchmark and it shows, hey, this is a general comparison of my CPU, my graphics card, my hard drive performance, my memory performance versus other systems, other similar systems. And it goes back, retroactive to you can test how does this older hardware compare to newer hardware. But it looks like moving along in the build, I've got my 500 gig SATA 7200 RPM drive mounted up on top. Got the graphics card and we got the memory and we've got the M.2 NVMe installed. So this build is moving right along. We better catch up on the rest of our hardware talk here. So yeah, we got the 3050. But yeah, real quick, when we're talking about the i5-8500, we will compare it to dun 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 what I got here on my score. So I got 8517 and 2386. We bounce back to the the average score we're seeing on Passmark, and it's 9549 and 2447. And I would attribute this to the miniature power supply in here. That kind of nerfs things. You're going to have this, this HP micro tower system, and it's going to really kind of strangle the power just so the whole thing doesn't go up in smoke. So you're going to see, minimal performance from your CPUs on smaller, pre-builds like this, just because they want to make sure that they don't catch on fire, because people don't like it when they buy computers that catch on fire, apparently. So yeah, if we would have got the 3050 off eBay, it would have been 140 or so bucks. But then we got something else to talk about, because this is the 3050 6GB variant. And what we have here, this is the 8GB variant, and we can see the performance disparity. And the pass mark here, the 3D mark comes out at 12,728. But then you switch over to the 6GB variant, and it's 10,704. And you can see the difference is primarily in the core clocks. Like the 6GB, they nerfed it down to 1042 megahertz from 1552 megahertz. So it's like pretty much like a third of the power they're cranking through there. And that's pretty significant. And we look over to the score that I got, and that's pretty consistent. 10,293 versus 10,704. So I actually got a little bit less, but also I'm dealing with the nerf of this HP here, the HP mini power supply, this sucker right here. It's like 250 some odd watts, so it's gonna hurt your scores just a little bit, but it's still pretty solid little, gaming setup for something that small and compact. I mean, you gotta love that, it's also costing you less power. So while you're getting less performance, you're also getting, less on your power bill. So that's something to consider there, I guess. Anyways, so now we will talk about the little M.2 NVMe drive we got going here. Yeah, let's see if we can show that in the browser here. We'll switch over to you. Yes, there it is right there. I got this off Amazon for almost 20 bucks. I mean, I probably could have got something different. I mean, it says it's new, but how much would this score on the pass mark on average? And I punched in the model number, and it says around 16,682. And we look to the score that we actually got, and it's like 19,546. So I guess the power supply on this little HP didn't really hurt that. And it didn't hurt the M.2 NVMe score, which is good. At least it didn't hurt something. It seemed like it kind of nerfed everything else there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this little system here. It's it's got the i5-8500, which scores a little bit less because of the HP micro power supply here. It's got the RTX 3056 gigabyte, which also scores a little bit less because of the micro power supply in this little HP system here. And it's got the 256 gigabyte M.2 NVMe by Hynix that actually scores better for some reason than advertised or than the average pass mark shows. But yeah, all in all, a pretty competent little system. And then the memory mark is right around 2943, which is still, I forget if this was like the 2666 DDR4 or the 2400. It's one of the two. It's been a while since I did this build. So anyways, that's pretty much it for this one here. Next episode, we will be back with the conclusion of the 8th gen i series rabbit hole, going up to the i7-8700 in an AliExpress 1151 custom build. Yes, it'll be amazing. Anyways, so that's it for this episode of E-Wasted, and we will talk to you next time. Adios.